Hey folks, TJB Chris here, and we've got a short video tonight on the Tandy 1000SX. Specifically, we're going to replace the Tandy SmartWatch that's underneath the ROM BIOS with an equivalent that doesn't have a built-in battery that I bought. This, I'll have to take it out of the package so you can see it, is a Tandy 1000 SmartWatch Plus by dJOS. There's probably a way to pronounce that, and I suck at pronunciation, so we're just going to say that. So we're going to do that tonight, put the battery in and set the clock, and this will actually make life easier for me. If you've seen this thing in previous videos, you've probably noticed that the date often says sometime in 2015, and that's because that's the date that's stuck in the current smartwatch. So for the network portions of my configuration, like MTCP, that means I have to do a DHCP call twice because I use the NTP client. So I run the DHCP client to get an IP, run the NTP client, which immediately expires the IP address because it's now 7 years old, to then run the DHCP client again. So this will do away with that bit of lunacy that I used to work around it, so I had the current time at least when I ran MTCP. So before we do that though, a Model 1 update. So the Model 1 sits apart. There are some issues with the video synchronization. Neither horizontal or vertical sync work. I had taken some footage of me taking the machine apart, and if you saw the intro video, you know that the warranty seal was intact on this machine, and I had to pop the warranty cherry. And I like to put those on film, usually with a corresponding pop, which I did. And then somebody here filmed a fast-track video on upgrading the ROM in the Model 3 to a FredROM, and doing so nuked the footage. So all that footage is lost to DevNull, and I'm going to have to just go from here. So what I've done on the machine so far is I have socketed the various, Z5, Z6, and Z57. I've also replaced a couple of the ceramic caps that are in line there. We still have some synchronization issues, but I'm suspecting that we might have higher level voltage issues because Q3 here, which is this guy right here, runs extremely hot. So it looks like we might have a problem with that cap. So the scope does show some synchronization signals making it up to the various bits here. I've also replaced, what is this, Q2. So we are, all of the areas in the sync circuit should be in pretty good shape now. And of course the socketed chips Z5, Z6, Z57 are all replacement parts. And I bought 10 of each in case I got any bad ones. And tried to avoid Chinese knockoffs, but I mean, that's almost impossible these days. So hopefully that's not part of my problem. So anyway, that's where we are with that. I did in the process also pick up a buffered cable for the EI. So once I get that far, this is from Ian Maverick. I can't even tell you how much money I've given him, but he makes great stuff. And I'm really glad he makes things like this because finding one of these cables on eBay is a pain in the ass. And this is an EI that requires it. It's got the little DIN connector here for some of the lines. So that requires the buffered cable. You can't just make a straight through cable. So anyway, that's where we are with the Model 1. Now back to the Tandy 1000SX. Alright, so let's take a closer look at this Tandy 1000 SmartWatch Plus. I got this on Tindy.com. And this has been out of stock for a while. There's different ones for the different Tandy 1000 models, so make sure you pick the right one. But this basically has the clock chip on there, but also has a socket for a CR1216 battery. So that's going to be very nice to have. Looking forward to putting this in. Like I said, there's an existing smartwatch in there, so we're going to pull that out and put this in its place on the ROM BIOS socket. So let's do that. And there's the piggyback set right there. Just going to pull this bracket out. It's amazing how many of these I see on eBay that don't have the brackets. And my little mess of cables is in the way here, but it shouldn't matter too much. So this is the BIOS ROM, and there's the smartwatch under it. You can see it's kind of like Legos. It's a little high, so let's get that out of there. And there's the assembly removed. You can see whoever put it in didn't actually put the chip in all the way, but whatever, it worked. And this is the smartwatch. So we're going to remove the ROM from this, and we're going to put it in the new SmartWatch Plus. And there we are. Notch, notch. Looks good to me. Okay, now let's install the battery. Okay, tick-tock, tick-tock. Alright, let's get this in there. And there it is. Look at that in its glory. Inserted battery, and the great thing about this is when the battery dies, I pop the battery out, slide new battery in, problem solved. And this is what the old one looks like, by the way. Put that where the camera can focus on it. The problem with these Dallas chips, these old ones, is the battery's on board. It's difficult to get them out. So anyway, let's put this back together, and we're going to use the utility to set the smartwatch, and then we'll try it out, see if it works. Alright, time to boot her up. You'll notice I didn't test this out, so we're just gonna hope it works, otherwise blooper reel. So let's power it up and see what happens. While this comes up, I'm going to boot it onto the network stack so that I can download the SMWCLOCK Y2K enabled version from TV Dog's website. I'll put a link in the description, but I'll put that available there. Just remember, it's an FTP link. A lot of the links on there are, and modern browsers don't like FTP anymore, so you're going to have to find another way, command line or otherwise, to get it down. What I've done is downloaded it onto my Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to use the I'm going to use the FTP program on here to pull it down to here. All booted up, zoomed in on the screen so you can see it. Hopefully it comes out okay. This camera usually does okay with this monitor. So let's go over to the Raspberry Pi, shall we? Okay, we've now downloaded the file. Let's look at the date and time here. Oh, 5/26/2022. So, oh yeah, duh, because I used NTP because I had to do that to boot the network up. So actually, we're good to go. I'm going to set the clock. Okay, I'm going to run SMWCLOCK S, and it'll set us back a couple seconds, but it should work. Time. And that's it. Now we have a proper setup with the clock. So what I'm going to do now is put it into config.sys, or no, config.sys. I'm going to put it into autoexec.bat, and we're going to take out the additional two-step for DHCP. Alright, so that's pretty much going to do it. While I'll do this, I'll just start DeskMate so we can see the date and time in DeskMate, because that's where it always says 2015. And while that happens, I'm actually going to zoom out the camera a little bit, and we're going to take a look at a little bonus of things that I have that I got with this machine. Alright, it's time for a little show and tell for this machine. You won't see on camera tonight just because I can't really get them in here and they're in another room. I have the original box for this computer and its monitor. So this is an original system delivered to me in the boxes. It was headed for a dumpster and was actually saved by my mother-in-law. And with it, the floppy drives are both standard, or both what was in there. The 3.5 wasn't standard. This was the later SX that had the single floppy drive. The original SXs had two, and then they made a one-drive version. So it came with 384K, which I did upgrade to 640K before I was doing YouTube videos. And we'll start with this. So I have the original floppy drive insert, which drive was made in Japan, obviously. And then we have the smartwatch box, which actually had the smartwatch that was in here, and I have with it the documentation, the manual and everything, and I also have the change of address cards and all the stuff that comes with that. And there's actually some more cool stuff in the box that we'll look at. In addition, the 3.5-inch floppy drive is actually the Tandy drive, the Tandy sold drive, and includes the owner's manual for that. So we have the disk kit owner's manual. There's also a couple of addendums that come with the OneDrive systems. So this is OneDrive copying files of this copy, copying files in a diskette using DeskMate 2. All this stuff had to be an addendum because the original documentation treats all the machines as if they're two-drive machines. Another warranty registration card, don't care about that though. And then to fit the 3.5-inch drive in the 5.25-inch bay, we have the manual for the adapter kit. I also have the original CM8 monitor manual, or CM8, the color computer monitor, CM11 in the original bag. We have the diskette organizer that came with the machine. Let's put that in frame, please. And this organizer actually has the original diskettes that came with the machine. MS-DOS, supplemental programs, and the two DeskMate 2 diskettes with their little foil write protect tabs. The manuals that I have, this quick reference is original to the machine. I did not get the regular manual, but I bought this on eBay because I wanted the full complement of manuals. But I do have the manuals for this machine. I think this machine is the most complete of any of my systems. But, as the late Billy Mays would say, but wait, there's more. We have some goodies inside the smartwatch box. What do we got here? I don't know whose phone number this is, but since there's not an area code, at least we won't know, but don't call it, please, for Christ's sake. We have the protector for the 3.5-inch floppy drive. All 3 slot covers. One of these I removed and put in here. We've got a chip extractor and another chip extractor. And this is the tube, the DRAMs that I bought to upgrade the machine to 640K. Came in. These are 41256. This is the original blank for the floppy drive bay. So if I ever wanted to take a floppy drive out, why would you do that? You could do that. Actually, I have the packaging for the IC extractor. I don't know if you can see it back there, but I'm not going to dig it out. And the original floppy drive faceplate that came with the floppy drive. So this, if I had a 1000HX, I could actually throw this drive in there. I do not. This is probably the machine that I received that was in the best shape. It needed very little cleaning and has been relatively maintenance free. So, like I said, I have the original box for the monitor and the system. If you'd like to see them, you know what? Let me know. I'll throw them on the channel. I'll do a quick. We'll have a quickie. Otherwise, you probably see them on eBay. But if you care, you care. So that's going to be it. That is installing the SmartWatch Plus. Like I said, this is Tandy.com. Very cool. Shipped from Australia. Really happy with it. And now I don't have to do the DHCP2 step when I want the current time and I boot the network stack, and now my DeskMate time and date will always be correct. So until next time, thank you for watching and stay classy.